will go from Egypt to India, and as you can understand the difficulty of everything we do here, because people still, this is the first actually time we meet face to face since 2019, because it has been a very difficult time for everyone. But we are very grateful. These two gentlemen, they're going to talk to us. They are both distinguished academics. We're going to go to India, to Amity University, or Amity group of universities in India near New Delhi. Professor Gurinder Singh is a distinguished international academic. He's a scholar himself. He has written lots of books and chapters. The first time we met him, 2004, we met him as the dean of the business school. And I remember here in East London in 2004, he said his dream for this Amity University to become a global university. And at that time, we asked him, what do you mean? He said it has to have branches all over the world. And he did. In 2009 or 10, I can't remember, they opened their first branch in London, near teaching in Berwick College. So Amity Business School is teaching in London here, and then they went to Dubai, and they have their own campus there, and then they went to America and Canada. So it's a great pleasure, Professor Gurinder Singh. We will give you the space, and thank you very much for waiting for us, and also thank you for giving us your time.
We know you not only as an excellent academician, but a researcher, a good friend with whom Amity has got a long association. Also, a very warm welcome to all the delegates. I can see Professor Farida Fortune from Queen Mary University of London. Thank you so much for welcoming all of us. Queen Mary University of London is also partner of Amity University, and we work on a number of programs. I will start from where Professor Bakri Osman Said, a good friend of Africa, has left. And then would like to listen to Professor Muhammad Nasir, who's the next speaker. But Professor Bakri, I think that you raised a very important issue of Africa. So I will give you one instance of Africa. I remember that about 15 years back, when Dr. Abdul Kalam, who is the ex-president of India, was elected, and as a very noted academician and a scientist, when he got elected, he chose Africa to be the first country, the first continent where he should visit. Very unlikely, as a president, he didn't took any of the business people with him, but took only very senior academicians and vice chancellors in the delegation. We got a chance to travel in this delegation. And when Dr. Kalam, the president of India, the nuclear scientist, academician, he started speaking in the African Union, his speech was very powerful. And he said, and his first sentence was, where all the heads of the states of African Union were there. I'm sure, Mr. Bakri, you must be there at that time, or your colleagues must be there. So almost 47 countries were present, European Union was present. And he said that I'm going to give my sister and brothers of Africa a gift which they are going to remember for decades and for centuries. And people clapped for 3 minutes. And his next sentence was, but not $1 to give. So people were thinking that what he is going to give Professor Ahmed, if he's not giving dollars, if he's not giving financial aid, then what is that gift which he is going to give to Africa? And at that time, Dr. Kalam said that I'm going to give virtual education as a gift to Africa. And he invited European Union, he invited all the leading universities of the world to come together and offer virtual education in Africa. By the end of the day, like we are sitting today, at the very prestigious WASD conference, which Professor Allam Ahmed has been organizing for many years, the conclusion was that Africa was not ready. Conclusion was that it will be very difficult to implement virtual education in Africa. Africa will take many decades to be prepared to have e-learning portals, and their universities will take long time to implement it. This was the conclusion which European Union gave in the conference. As a very visionary president, he smiled and he came back. He invited the leading 15 universities of India, including all IITs, and of course, Amity University. And I remember in that meeting, 19 top people were sitting of the country. And the president said that this is my dream. What is your view? Out of the 19, 18 said, it is impossible to implement this project in Africa because Africa was not ready. At that time, Amity and our founder, Dr. Chauhan, said that we will like to experiment this project in Africa. We became the first country and the first university from the world to implement Pan-African e-network project. Mr. Bakri Said, you must be knowing that this was the most prestigious project which any country implemented in Africa. And the test marketing was 2,000 students in 1 year. And do you know, ladies and gentlemen, how many students have taken benefit out of this project? 85,000 African students got a benefit of earning degree, and that is the speed of technology. So when the whole world was talking about that Africa was not ready, Africa became ready. They came forward and they said that if you are going to give us technology, we are going to implement this technology across Africa. So the resolution, the headquarters which were created at Addis Ababa, from there to 42 African countries, we created the education hub, and through dedicated satellite education from the Ministry of External Affairs with the help of TCS and TCIL, this project became the landmark project of Africa. And then it was also translated to e-medicine. So we didn't stop there. Apollo Hospitals became the partner, and we started doing and giving the consulting to thousands of African patients through e-medicine and e-learning portals. And why I'm telling you this? When today we are sitting and the topic which has been given to me is that what are the post-COVID opportunities? And when the people are talking about that the world is going to face the biggest recession, as an economist, I can tell you that there are a lot of opportunities which are in front of the world. 20th March 2020, when the stock markets were falling, when we saw somewhere about 35%, the commodity marketing of the world was coming down, when all the scripts were coming down, at that point of time, few economists in India, in US, in UK, in Africa, and we had a group of about 18 who forecasted that there will be a boom in the economy. And if you look today, the major commodities in the last 2 years, whether it's real estate or it's commodities or it's stock markets, they increased almost 100%, almost 100%. And after going up, they are again coming down to the pre-COVID levels, which means that whenever there is a problem, it also gives birth to the many opportunities. Today, when we look at COVID-19 and we look at the higher education sector, we need to look at some of the challenges which are in front of us. The first challenge, which is in front not only for African countries, but also again for the European countries and for the Middle East and even for Americans. Today in the morning, I was with one of the Vice Chancellor of a Canadian university, and they are also facing the same challenges, is of the financial strain and reduction of the purchasing power. If you look at all the major currencies of the world, and you look at that the way they have been depreciated in the last 2 years, we can see easily that on average, every currency has been depreciated by about 18%. Whether it's UK pound, or it's Indian rupee, or it's Canadian dollar, or it's Australian dollar, or it's Singaporean dollar. If you compare it against gold, or if we compare it against the American dollar, all the currencies have been depreciated, which means that we are less purchasing power in our hand. So there's a financial strain. There are a lot of schools and colleges and universities which have been closed. I think my slides are not visible, but it's fine. I will speak from my paper only. That's fine. So closure of schools and universities. There are a lot of schools and colleges which have been closed. Right? As per our World Bank report, about 19% of the schools and about 23% of the higher education institutions have been shut down. They are not able to survive. About 27% of the higher education institutions across the globe, not only in Africa, they are not able to afford the salaries of the people. 11% of the top academicians, they are not with us. We have lost them in COVID. 17% of the people who used to go for the higher education, they have decided not to go for the higher education. 43% of the students and faculty, alarming figures, 43% of the faculty and students, they are facing huge mental health issues. Someone has lost someone in the family. Someone is facing financial stress. Someone is not able to go to the university. Huge mental health issues. Lack of personal interaction. The structures are coming down. Purchasing power is less. So, which means that there are a lot of challenges which are in front of us. Students, they are not able to go to the industry. Employment opportunities, they are saturating. Today, only in the morning, we saw that one of the leading companies, Amazon, they have said that we are laying down few people. In India, one of the IT giants, and in the education, a company like Byju's, they are saying that we will be taking out 2,500 jobs from the Indian and Asian markets. So which means that the world has to look at the economic recession and how we should be able to convert this economic recession into an opportunity. Through education is the biggest challenge which is in front of all academicians. And I think that through this conference, we not only have to look at the SDGs, 17 SDGs, we also need to look at that how the world is going to address these problems and find a solution to make this world a better place to live. And I think the first solution, the first thing which I will like to concentrate is that we need to look at creating a hybrid model across the globe. There are people who have been able to create a great hybrid model. There are universities who have been able to create a hybrid model. But then there are universities who are not able to look at the technology. I remember that when COVID started, there were universities who switched over immediately on the IT mode. And not even a single day was wasted because they were very well prepared. But then there were universities in the world who had to struggle very hard. The future of the universities will not depend on the kind of physical infrastructure they will be having. But the future of the universities will depend upon the kind of academic model they are going to put forward to the whole world. And I think that the most important thing here is going to be that how you try to accept the credits of all the universities. For example, someone who's in Africa, if he wants to get a fair and equitable treatment in UK, or if they want to go to one of the top universities in US, will they get fair and equitable treatment? If they take an online program from one of the good universities of US or UK or Australia, will they get the same credibility? Will they get the similar kind of recognition of their own degree? The whole world is talking about dual degree and the joint degrees. But how many universities in the world have been practically able to implement it? Is West, is America, is Australia, or other countries of the world ready to accept the degrees of the countries which are less known in the world? When we talk about Africa, whatever little experience I have working with all the African countries for about 20 years, Almost every week I was traveling to Africa. I know the kind of challenges they face in their villages. I know the kind of challenges our sisters and brothers in Africa they face when they have to go abroad. I know the challenges of African universities when they have to go and they have to map their programs with some of the top universities of the world. So when we talk about the hybrid model, we need to create a hybrid model which is sustainable. So it is not only the 17 SDGs, it is also the 18th one, which is very important, fair and equitable equivalence of credits of all the universities of the world, if you really want that the impact of the COVID has to be minimized, especially with the focus to African countries. The second very important point is that the time has gone now where our students, they will be doing the courses which will be about 7 years long. They will be coming for the PhD. I remember that when we were young, I'm not old today also, but I remember that when we were very young, we used to go to US or we used to travel to UK to do our PhD. And same is the story with Africa. Anyone who wanted to go for the higher education, they used to look for funding. They used to come for a PhD program to the West or to the United States of America. Today, we see that the youngsters, they go for the short duration programs. They go for their undergraduate programs. They go for their executive programs. So one message is very, very clear that we need to create post-COVID programs which are shorter and which are industry friendly, which are able to generate great employment. Last month, I was at Harvard in Boston and got a chance to have an interaction with Professor Datar, who is the Dean of the Harvard Business School. And when we were discussing that how post-COVID the world will look like, I think that one very important thing Professor Datar quoted, and I am putting this on record today here. He said that world will not look for the formal degrees in the times to come. So business schools and the universities like Harvard, they are going to across the world to look at scalability. Some of the most premium brands like Harvard, MIT, NYU, Queen Mary, UCL, you will find that all of them, they are doing research on scalability rather than confining themselves to few students. And scalability means a model which has to be industry friendly. We need to create a workforce. If we really want our 7 SDGs to be implemented and find a solution of the problems, we need to look at the scalability. If we really want green technology to come forward and create an environment which is able to look at the major problems which we are facing today. In India, last 1 month, continuous rain. It has never, ever happened in India. I was in the morning with the Vice Chancellor of Canada, and they are saying that in October, this time, 3rd week, it's a forecast that it will be snowing heavily. It has never, ever happened in Canada. There will be storms, there will be tsunamis. So we need to look at that, whether we are prepared. And if we will look for the programs, the very long programs, which are not industry friendly, we will never be able to come out with a solution. So green technology, software-based solution, AI-based solution, machine learning-based solution, digital economies, we need to look at that how we should become partner to the industry. And post-COVID, if we need to create a system, an academic environment, industry needs to support. Students have hardly got any chance to work with the industry in the last 2.5 years. So we need to create a model where the students can sit down, can take virtual training. If tomorrow again, COVID-like situation arises, then how prepared our universities are? We need to think about it. We need to look at that what resources are in our hand. And most importantly, we also have to look at that how prepared are our universities for the challenges of tomorrow. If climate change is happening, if there are problems which we are seeing as one of the greatest problems we can see tomorrow is raising of temperature. If there is another 1 degree Celsius change in the temperature, you will find that many of the countries will not be there even on the map where they are existing today. And if that is a situation, then how well our curriculum is prepared? Have we been able to include the SDGs in our curriculum? I'll give you the figure. Only 9% of the universities across the globe have included SDGs in their curriculum. At Amity, we have got 11 universities in India and 17 foreign campuses, including our 2 campuses in United States of America, one in New York, which is a 175 acres campus, which we acquired from St. John's University. And Professor Allam, one business school, which is Presidio Graduate School, which is working only on the sustainable management. And we do a lot of research in this area. So we can tell you that today, the biggest problem is that how the curriculum related with sustainable management, related with the green technology should look like. In India, the government has allocated huge resources towards the new technology, towards the green technology, and looking at how we should be able to include SDGs and outcome-based education, which is one of the most important points where our universities should focus on. At the end, I would say that world is going to be the better place if we partner not only just to recruit students from Africa, just to recruit students from across the globe, but to give them the fairer share in decision making, fairer share in looking at those universities which are located today in Africa, in other parts of the world, which are less known, and accepting their credits and treating them equally. With that request, with that recommendation, once again, I thank each one of you. It was such a privilege to speak in this prestigious conference. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Singh. Maybe one question for you. I hear this question I can't remember, last 6 months when you announced you're opening a new university in Canada or in the US. Many universities have started worrying about the number of students. How positive you are about expanding? Because I think you now have just opened a campus in New York or in Canada. How positive you think the situation will change, Professor?
Professor Allam, I think this is a very, very important and a strategic question which you have asked. And I will take you back when I met you for the first time. And I was narrating that we will be able to create a network of universities. We will have association of international universities. We will open all the universities. Very interesting thing happened. We came to London and we were looking at that how we should establish our first campus in London. And we were trying to understand the models. We were trying to look at some of the premier universities of the world. And I met almost a dozen of vice chancellors in UK to understand that how, anyone we met, they said that you as an Asian university, you don't have any future because there are so many institutions here which are already existing. You will not be able to be successful. So we had 2 choices, either to go back and say that there is no demand and only to look for articulations with some of the universities, or to have meaningful partnerships. We thought that let's take up a difficult way. So I remember that we went to Bradford Square, where today, when Professor Allam was saying where we have got our campus next to the British Museum, and I knocked the door of NYU. Luckily, at that time, the president of the NYU was there from US. I got a chance to speak to him and tried to understand that what they are doing in London. And they gave up a model, and the model was that they are using the infrastructure of University College London. They are using the classroom of Birkbeck, and they are trying to bring some of the students not only from US, but from China, from Asia, from across the globe, from Africa to their NYU campus to give them the experiential learning. We experimented. We tried to take some learnings, and next 2 months, we had a next building. I remember that NYU had a number 6, we took a number 7. So we became neighbors. We collaborated, and we also collaborated with University College London, Birkbeck College, took their classrooms, and rest is the history. Today, about 4,000 students are studying in London in this campus. So I think that if you are committed and you have to create new models, same thing happened in Singapore. When we opened our first campus in Singapore, we met the Prime Minister of Singapore, we met the Education Minister of Singapore. The question they had in front of us was, why you want to come to Singapore? We are closing down the institution. And one of the most difficult accreditations in the world, if you look at it, is of a Singapore. And we had no experience that what we have to do, right? But I think that the things were very clear in our mind that we will create a collaborative model which is going to attract good number of students because we will try to give them the good quality of education. So we started concentrating on the working executives who were working in the finance sector. We made our school, we made our university in the financial district of Singapore. I still remember at one of the most premium sectors when we went in the financial district of Singapore. When we created an institution, people said it will not work. So we started concentrating, delivering our programs only in the evening. Result was that we were able to create a program, the MBA program in Singapore, which was amongst the top 3 programs of Singapore. It has been awarded as one of the best programs. Same is the story in US and in Middle East. When for the first time we went to the Middle East, all kind of challenges were there. Today, we are amongst the top 3 education players in Middle East with about 10,000 students, 27 acres of freehold land in Dubai and in Abu Dhabi. When we went to US, people said that it will be very difficult. Today, we work very closely with some of the top brands like NYU, with Columbia, and have created a research-based institutions where we are working in San Francisco, even on sustainable management. So when you say that students are difficult, it's absolutely correct that getting students are difficult on the models which were there and which most of the universities across the globe have not been able to change. But then you will find that new universities, the new models which are coming up, they are based on technology. They are based on mutual collaborations. They are based on accepting the credits of each other. Professor Allam, why not to create a platform where all the African universities, they are on the common platform, and that's what I'm trying to do. And create another platform where all the European universities are on a common platform. And also look at some of the great universities, Group 8 universities of Australia, and look at Ivy Leagues and Russell Group of universities. They come together, accept credit, and then we offer to the whole world at a price which is the most affordable price which any organization in the world can offer. You will find people coming, running to you. So I think that we need to look at that the model has to be different. And if the model has to be different, you will find that people will accept it. We need to work on it. We need to think about it. We need to see that how meaningfully we should have partnerships. And that is what the word is going to be. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. I think he commented really. Every time someone asks me about an example, this Amity Business School is a good example worldwide. The university from India is now in London. They're teaching in London for nearly 10 years with Birkbeck College, New York, in Dubai, and they are growing. So that means the market and the intervention. I remember this, he's right. He said, no way you will get the students and teach in London. They are teaching their students in Birkbeck College. So well done, Professor, congratulations. And I have seen Amity many years ago, 2004. I remember with Peter when we traveled to India. The students are fantastic. And this dream, it was realized. And I I think we all need to watch for it. We will see this in Africa, I think, very soon. Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you for your time.